We had a long weekend of baseball, which featured a ton of waiver wire options. Let's talk about it next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. As always, make sure to follow and stream us on Spotify. Today is Tuesday, July 6th. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Scott White. And let's start with some waiver wire pitchers. Logan Gilbert, over his last 6 starts, he's got a 2.90 ERA. He's 70% rostered on CBS. Joe Ross had a great start against the Dodgers this weekend. 6 2/3, 3 runs, 11 strikeouts. And Zach Thompson for the Marlins over his first 5 starts with the team. He's got a 2.25 ERA, nearly a 15% swinging strike rate. Scott, how would you rank those 3? Logan Gilbert, Joe Ross, and Zach Thompson.
Well, Logan Gilbert has to be number 1 because not only is he getting a ton of whiffs recently, as he's begun to incorporate his changeup more and more, and actually in this most recent start, he hardly used his slider. That's how much confidence he had in the changeup. So gaining confidence in that third pitch and getting more whiffs, and obviously top prospect pedigree, like what I'm seeing from him. But I like what I'm seeing from Zach Thompson too. He's the surprise of this group, but also getting a lot of whiffs and with a surprisingly diverse arsenal. He got multiple whiffs on 4 different pitches in this most recent start over the weekend, and that's something we've seen from him a few starts in a row now. Zach Thompson getting the whiffs, getting the strikeouts, and just looks really effective. Looks much more effective than you'd expect, judging from his minor league track record, his 27 years of age. Joe Ross, I think he's perfectly usable too. If you take out his 2 awful starts, his ERA goes from a little over 4 to a little over 2. So he's been good more often than not. I just don't really understand it looking at the underlying numbers from Joe Ross. I'm not totally trusting in it, but I don't mind using him while he's going this well.
Let's take a look at another group of waiver wire pitchers, maybe in a deeper league than the names we just talked about. Chris Flexen over the weekend, 6 innings, 1 run against the Rangers. Drew Smyly over his last 4 starts has a 1.21 ERA. Alex Cobb had 7 2/3, 1 run, 6 strikeouts against the Orioles. Tyler Anderson got a 2.41 ERA over his last 3 starts. Tylor Megill, 5 innings, 1 run, 7 strikeouts against the Brewers. And Kwang Hyun Kim was at the Giants, 7 shutout with just 2 strikeouts. Flexen, Smyly, Cobb, Tyler Anderson, Megill, and Kim. Scott, give me your 2 favorites from that group.
My favorite is Tylor Megill of the Mets, and that's Tylor Megill. Neither of the names is spelled like it sounds. Tylor Megill of the Mets. He kind of reminds me of where Zach Thompson was 2 starts ago, where you were starting to see some signs that maybe he was the real deal. But, just need to see him do it a few more turns. Yeah, 16 whiffs on Monday for the 7 strikeouts in 5 innings, but 7 came on the fastball, 8 came on the changeup for Megill, and that changeup is supposed to be a work in progress, supposed to not be a very developed pitch, and yet it was responsible for the majority of his whiffs. He had 14 whiffs in his previous start, and they were pretty well distributed between the fastball, the changeup, and the slider. So he has 3 pitches working for him, and you look at his minor league numbers this year, they were awesome, a lot of missed bats. Excited about what Tylor Megill has in store. Chris Flexen would probably be my second favorite. I don't think he's anything special, but he's on a nice run right now. Quality starts more often than not, and pitches in a favorable environment. So I'll go with him as my number 2.
All right, let's wrap up with some bullpen notes from the weekend. For the Reds, Heath Hembree got 2 saves, and we know that since Lucas Sims went down, they've been juggling between Amir Garrett and Brad Brock, and now Heath Hembree. For the Royals, Scott Barlow had 2 saves over the weekend. Greg Holland was used as the setup man for both of those. And then with the Phillies, we've been trying to find someone. Hector Neris has been awful this year, and they said that Jose Alvarado was going to be the closer, but he's been bad recently as well. So Ranger Suarez got the save for the Phillies. Between Hembree, Barlow, Suarez, how would you rank those 3, Scott, if you need saves in a categories league?
I would go Scott Barlow, number 1. He's been the Royals' best reliever pretty much all year. And as much as they've struggled to fill the closer role, I'm surprised they didn't turn to him sooner. But for back-to-back saves, I think that's a pretty strong endorsement that that's where they're leaning now. And if so, 13K per 9, a 1.99 ERA, that's pretty exciting. I do think Ranger Suarez could develop into the guy for the Phillies, though. Joe Girardi said he really liked the way he looked in closing out that game this weekend. And Hector Neris further disqualified himself this weekend with a 6 earned run outing. So we don't have to worry about him. Suarez has an ERA of 0.85, a whip of, I think, 0.7, less than a strikeout per inning, but that's because he's an extreme ground ball pitcher. So kind of a Zach Britton profile there for Suarez. Been very successful. So hopefully he continues to get opportunities and he has a chance of sticking.
For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, and anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. If you enjoyed the pod, please leave a 5-star review on Apple. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.